And Assalamu alaikum, and it's your host Imi again. And today we'll be reviewing the third T20 between England and Pakistan. And for a change, the mood might be a little bit more happier. So without further ado, let me introduce my guests. Hi Debs, how you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thank you. Happy.
Hi Pakistan, how you getting on?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm good, thanks. All happy. Yeah!
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. How you doing?
Alaikum salam. I am delighted. Yeah, good to be on and talking about a win for a change.
So, interestingly enough, we might not get the same coverage today because it's like 1:45 in Pakistan right now. But there'll be a few people out there. I mean, like, they've actually seen a win. And let's start from the start. I missed the first few overs, but let's start from the start. So England have won the toss, sent us in. I think Bob had said that he wanted a captain. We made 3 changes. We got Haider Ali in finally. Then we had just to remember, Wahab Riaz for Amir, and we had Safraz for Rizwan. Personally, I mean, Haider should have come in, but that would have been for Shoaib Malik for me. And Rizwan, I mean, that took everyone by a bit of surprise. I'm going to go to Pakistan for that one because I know you wasn't happy, were you?
Sorry, with what? With which selection?
With Rizwan and the Safraz picking. Just get into the team first of all.
Yeah, I think that Rizwan's played brilliantly all throughout this tour in the tests and in the T20. He hasn't done anything to be dropped. The only thing I can imagine is that he was rested. He's, to be fair to Rizwan, he's played every single game. He's been here, I think, since the 29th of June. So they've been here for, just over a couple of months. So maybe he was rested on that. I don't think it's fair to say that he was dropped. So maybe he was rested, really. Yeah.
Rested for what purpose? When's he next playing?
I don't know, Dave. I mean, the next tour is against New Zealand, which is October, November time, I think. But yeah, I mean, he's playing well. He's playing brilliantly. It's just 4 hours, so maybe they should have left him on. But I don't know.
Doctor, it didn't make any sense because he's your best gloveman. Just looking at the 11 first of all before we even go into the game. I think we all were a bit surprised. I don't think, and one of the things is he had not batted in the last game, so and his glove work was perfect. So it was a bit of a surprise here that he was actually dropped.
It almost felt like a change for the sake of a change. I mean, we've spoken about the seniority culture before. It almost felt like it would be, I don't know, maybe they thought it'd be a bit embarrassing for Safraz to kind of come all this way and not play a game on tour. I mean, I don't know. I think you kind of just leave your egos at the door when it comes to something like this. You pick your best keeper for the last game of a tour. And this game, to be fair, this game meant a lot more, I think, to Pakistan than it did to England. England are in a situation where they've still got a limited over series or 2 series to come up against Australia. So they've got plenty of chances. They've got, a few players to come back. For us, this was our last chance to win a game on this tour. So, yeah, a little bit annoyed that they left Rizwan out. The Wahab one, I'm not going to change my opinion. I know he did all right at the end. I probably would have brought Hasnain in instead of Wahab, but okay, that worked out all right. And yeah, I'm a bit surprised Iftikhar didn't play because if it had gone wrong for one of the bowlers this evening, we would have needed a 6th bowling option, and that would have been Iftikhar ahead of Malik. So I'm surprised Malik kept his place, or maybe not surprised given the things that we've spoken about before.
Yeah. Deb, I'm going to go to you to the England team.
Yeah.
I think it was unchanged again, 3rd game in a row. So players like Denley and some of the names, Willie, Roy was already out. So and I can't remember who the last person is now. Either way, they so it was unchanged. Any surprises that they didn't give some a go?
I think David Willey can feel very hard done by this summer, actually, considering he's not in the squads for the Australia games at all, but was player of the series against Ireland. I don't understand what they're doing to that poor man, I have to say. I think the last Pakistan one-day game last year probably did for him as far as the World Cup was concerned. But to give him a small taste and bring him back for Ireland and then just completely discard him, I think is very, very harsh.
A bit like last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think that Pakistan did in that he was awful in that last one day against Pakistan, and I think that probably finished him off for the World Cup. But he must have thought that he was back into the team really, and there he's just completely disappeared. I'd have had him over Lewis Gregory, and I know they're trying different options, but he's not convinced me. I don't think. I think Banton looks a wonderful young player. He didn't do very well in the PSL, did he? Which was a bit disappointing. But I think he's very promising.
Mm-hmm. Just to go into the game then, so we batted first. I missed the first 5 overs, though I was listening to it while I was driving. So what I did was I was still driving and I turned the radio on, and basically nothing on the radio today, surprisingly enough. So what I did, I put my Sky Go on, turned it onto the car, Bluetooth, put the phone on the side so I can't see the phone, so I could actually hear the Sky commentary while I was driving in. So I stayed perfectly legal while I was driving, but I could actually hear the commentary. So Bobber got from what I saw afterwards as well, because I've seen the wickets. He got a pretty straight one, and he missed it, Doctor, didn't he? And first of all, Fakhar Zaman got a pretty straight delivery against Moeen. I think that was just an England plan against him. And then Bobber as well. It wasn't the greatest shot by him, so that we lost 2 early wickets, Doctor, which set us back.
It did set us back, but you know what? We've become so accustomed to Babar and Fakhar doing so well for us that in a bilateral series like this, I actually want to see what the middle order can do. Obviously, you'd love us to be 200 for none after 20 overs, of course, but it was good to then see what was going to come afterwards. In terms of the opening partnership, Fakhar is a bit out of sorts, isn't he? So I said a couple of times on here that I'm not worried about Fakhar. I think he'll come good. He'll win us games. He's averaging, so in his last 15 matches, which is quite a lot, he's averaging about 10 with a highest score of 36, which was the other day. So I don't know if Fakhar is maybe benefiting right now from there not being like a viable alternative. I mean, if we drop Fakhar, I'm not quite sure who comes in to open alongside Babar. I'm not sure what the situation is with Sharjeel at the moment. If you look at the kind of the PSL run scorers, Shan is one of the few. I'm looking at these comments here, people losing years of their life expectancy watching Pakistan. So I don't know who the replacement would be for Fakhar if his drop in form continued, but a little bit. I don't know if anyone else is a bit worried about his form, or if we just think he's going to come good.
I think we mentioned it the other day. 33 games and straight to the 34th, and it's about the 22nd game now where he's got out in the power play. So that is very inconsistent for an opener, even if it's T20.
Yeah, I mean, we've been persisting with him, haven't we, really, since the Champions Trophy final, really, for 2017. We've just been persisting with him. And the thing is that it's not like we don't have another opener in the waiting out in the dugout with Imam, really. So Imam is breathing on his neck, so there is pressure on him. But, I suppose it's there to see that how long did they persist with Fakhar, really. Going into the T20 World Cup in 12 months' time, will Imam get his turn against New Zealand or any of the other teams that we're touring over the next 10, 11 months?
I think.
Yeah,
I get the impression he's the only kind of proper dashing opener we've got, as in the only one who's probably able to get you, like I mentioned the other day, 60 off 30. I don't know if any of our other openers. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that because, as you said, Doctor, he will go for it, and in the power play, you want someone to do that. Sometimes it does come off, sometimes it doesn't come off, and it's never going to come off every single time. But I suppose it needs to be weighed up at some point. That what's the pass rate really?
We've probably got bigger problems than Thucker, I guess. So just to finish it there, we've got bigger problems in the team than Thucker, which is, which probably need addressing first. But it's just a small concern, I guess.
Well, yeah, you say that, and we definitely do. But then again, there's another option. Eventually, if we needed that option, there was a young under-19s batsman who was opening the innings, and he made his debut today as a number 3. Deb, you were the whole tour. You said, "I want to see him. I want to see him. I want to see him."
Yeah.
Here we are. And like I just said, how good was he? How good was Rob at the end? Heather Ali, Deb, tell us.
Oh, he was fantastic. What the second shot for an international shot was a massive 6. Fantastic. For me, they should have played him in the tests for me. What was there to lose? He was wonderful. Can I put my words about Hafiz as well while we're on it? Mm-hmm. The two of them together were just fantastic to watch. They really were. And to think that Hafiz made his debut before Haider was born is just madness, isn't it? Yeah, he was brilliant. I think we'll see him for many years. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that we'll see him in all of the formats as well. I just wish that they'd tried him before. I don't understand why they didn't. I really don't.
You know what? We could have done a lot worse than having him at, say, number 6 in the final test match. We could have done a lot worse than that. And we could have definitely done a lot worse than, we've done a lot worse than basically not having him. Doctor, I want to go back to you, yeah? There was a time when Rob Key actually asked a question, and can't remember her name now. The lady commentator,
Ebony.
Yeah. She asked the question and said, "Where's he been? Where are they hiding him?" I mean,
yeah, well, he's not been hiding anywhere. He's been there the whole time. He certainly should have played the first 2 T20s. I was so impressed with how he played, and the best I was just as he came in. Obviously, first time in international cricket. You imagine when. I mean, it was a while ago that probably any of us were 19, right? So you imagine you're 19, you're playing your first ever game for Pakistan, and his first 20 balls, he scored off 19 of his first 20 balls. You can imagine you would in your first 10, you'd probably just take 3 or 4 to kind of see what's happening, even let one go maybe. And so that was so impressive that he just took it all upon himself with 32 for 2 when he comes in, scores off his 19 of his first 20, 6 of his second ball, as he said. Brilliant. Obviously, it's not always going to be that good, but what a promising start, and hopefully he's going to be given plenty of chance over the next 12 months to cement his place in the team, and hopefully he will. So yeah, I think all of Pakistan, everyone watching, was super impressed with Haider today.
Hulk, there was a point, in our innings. I think Hafiz had 17 of 18 balls. Or was it 18 of 17 balls? It was there basically, like run a ball basically. And I remember saying to my dad, Hafiz is batting too slow. And it was that point where he hit 2 sixes against Adil Rashid. But while Hafiz was sort of settling in and struggling a little bit to get a tee off, what I found most impressive about Haider Ali was that he kept going and he never felt under the pressure saying that Hafiz is not being able to do it, so I got to go that little bit extra. He just carried on batting the way he was batting, and that sort of showed maturity a little bit, levels above what he really is.
Yeah, I think that, as doctors mentioned, that he's 19. That level of maturity is something that, I'm going to say that word that a lot of Pakistanis love and some of them hate: experience. It showed that he has that level of maturity, that level of experience, or whatever it is that we're looking for. He has that, and to be able to do that in your first game, and as Deb's mentioned, second ball 6. And I think that from Hafiz's perspective, I think we've said it for a few shows now. Why are these why are these players who are close to 40 playing? I've said it as well. I'll hold my hands up. But if Babar wants to have someone who's got that experience or got that level of seniority in there, Hafiz is your man. If you want that, Hafiz has shown it. He played brilliantly. We have to give him his dues. And even though he only had like almost around a run a ball after 17, 18 balls, at least he was showing intent. He was showing intent to score, and that's the most important thing. He didn't look like he was playing a test innings. He didn't look like he was playing for his spot. He was showing intent, and that's always the most one of the most important things that you can do when you're batting that high up in the order.
Mm-hmm. Nasser says Pakistani coaches need to think outside the box and be more dynamic when it comes to selection. Barber also needs to be more dynamic with his bowling change. Imad got hit for a few changing. Right, we'll come back. We'll come to our bowling because most of the comments that are coming through are about the bowling. So, but we're going to keep concentrating on the batting first of all. Deb, as we're talking about Hazard and like this partnership sort of just carried on. I don't know if you remember, but he played the 6 hit through the leg side. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, a shot full of class and full of, like, you could even say arrogance. That I can do this.
It's confidence, isn't it? It's confidence. I don't think it's arrogance. It's confidence.
When I mean arrogance, I mean like arrogance in his own ability. He knows how good he is. Confidence is probably the right word.
It quite shocked me that Bumble hadn't watched him before. My goodness, what does he do in our off season then? How has he not seen that lad bat? That amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
He was fantastic in PSL, and I'm just glad he brought that into the Pakistan team as well. And that should be him cemented now. It really should.
Yeah. Just to finish up on Hazard, just look at his PSL stats. He strike rated at around 170-ish in the power play, about 155 in the middle overs, and a very small sample size, but about 140-ish in the death. So regardless of what position he's playing at, in what area, there's only one way he knows to play, and that's being aggressive. That actually reminds me a lot of the way the England batsmen play now. We saw it in the second game. They were struggling. If that was us, we would have gone in the shell for 2-3 overs. But Owen Morgan just carried on playing. So Pakistan need players like that and people who keep playing like that. So after that, Pakistan got a very, very good partnership. We were all looking at 200 plus, but they fell short. One thing that I realized, Doctor, we are still short on a power hitter in that middle order, that number 6, whether that's Khushdil or whether that's Iftikhar, because Iftikhar can do it. He had a very bad game the last game, but he done it in Australia. But I mean, if Shoaib Malik, I'm going to go back to Shoaib Malik here. If he's not going to come out, to end the game for us and we can't finish it, I can't see the point of him being in the 11. Can you?
No, I agree. I wouldn't have played Malik today. Obviously, they went with Shadab. It didn't quite come off. I mean, we are still looking. We're looking for our finisher. If you look at Hafiz's innings, so you mentioned Hafiz. So his first 16 balls, I think he got 16 runs. His next 16 balls, he got something like 35, 36. So his scoring rate went right up. And then when you needed that push at the end, his next 20 balls, it was a very similar kind of strike rate. So the innings kind of leveled off. And I was making a note, actually, the last 5 overs. So our last 5 overs were 14, 11, 11, 11, 9, which is that's not that big push that gets you to 220. And obviously, look, we've won, so we're all delighted, and we just about got enough. But again, if you're chasing a huge score in a World Cup semi-final or a group game next year, we need that finisher. And we didn't score a boundary in the last 13 balls. There wasn't a single boundary. So Malik isn't going to be the answer. Iftikhar, I'm not convinced that he's someone who's just going to come out and be able to swing from ball one. Shadab, I'd give him a go at it. I know there's a few comments about Khushdil as well. Maybe he could be the one. He could be kind of our finisher. Let's be honest. A lot of teams around the world are looking for a finisher. It's not easy to come in over 16, 17 and just hit sixes from ball one. So we're not the only team that's kind of lacking there. But that's been a weakness for us for a while. And again, another day where 190, it might not have been enough. We could have needed 220, 230 today.
Yeah, so initial one, Hamza, a lot of people just say Khushdil. Khushdil's getting a lot of comments. He's the other one, Hokistan, we were talking about. along with Heather to get a chance. He's one who never ended up getting a game all tour. But we've got what we would have had a month and a half left before a World Cup, and we would have been like, we haven't got a finisher here. So now we've got an extra year. We need to start planning right now, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we need to start planning. I said that the last show that we did, that, where's the vision? What's the long-term plan, going into the 12-month one at the 2028 World Cup in India, and then the one over in Australia in 24 months' time. Ebony said it on as soon as Heather came in and he hit that first six of his second ball. Ebony said, this is the youth that Pakistan's been looking for. He's fearless, and that's what we need. You need that exuberance, that energy, that passion at that age. And if we're gonna lose a game, I'd rather lose with a 19, 20-year-old than someone who's 39, 40. And then just coming back to the Malik thing, I know that I've gone on and on and on about this for months and months and years for those who know me. But I think that the most telling thing about it was today is that, okay, like him or hate him, he got picked today, fine. But when he gets picked, he's always played. And I thought that, you normally bat out, 4? He didn't come out at 4, he didn't come out at 5, didn't come out at 6. And I'm thinking, well, if Misbah's picked him in the 11, why isn't Babar sending him out then? Because let's be honest, the 2020 in our innings today was a normal 2020 innings. There was nothing special about it. It was just a normal one. We ended up on 190. It was just a normal one. Why didn't they send him into bat? And if he can't come into bat, then what's his purpose? He didn't contribute anything. Rightly, they didn't give him an over or two. But on a batting perspective, if that's what he's chosen for, mainly his experience, why didn't they send him in? And I think that's a telling thing that, Babar's obviously changed the batting order around and he's not sending Malik in. Okay, so we only played with 10 batsmen then today, didn't we? We didn't promote Imad, Shadab and everyone up the order. We dropped Malik. Babar dropped him. And that'll be an interesting thing. To see what the fallout from that is.
The fallout should be that he doesn't get picked next time, surely.
Exactly. But just on that, Deb, we can say that Misbah needs to drop him. But for 10 years, our manager, coach, chief selector, whoever, they've all picked him. It can't be just lumped on Misbah today, yeah. Even in the past, Mickey Arthur and everyone before him, they've all picked him.
Yeah.
I can't understand the reason behind it, so I'm not going to say any more about it because, yeah, let's just move on.
I actually tweeted it as well that if we lose a wicket, we should send Imad or Shadab next. It just happens to be as soon as I pressed send, Heather got out, so it's like I jinxed him. I didn't release Raja for once. Yeah, but when I tweeted that, I'm tweeting it from where I see best for the team. But if you're playing Shoaib Malik, you've got to send him out. It's something that bewilders me. Either way, Pakistan went on to make 190 for 4 with Hafiz finishing 86 and had the 54. Jordan 2 for 29. At that stage, Pakistan couldn't defend 195. But have only lost 2 games in the history of T20 cricket after scoring 170 batting first. Did you think that was enough?
After what happened the other day, it wouldn't have surprised me if it wasn't enough. I think Pakistan benefited from a bit of. Well, let's put it this way: it's going to be interesting to be in the England dressing room right now with Tom Banton and Owen Morgan. I don't know whose fault that run out was, but that was absolutely key, wasn't it? Because I think while Owen Morgan's there, he's such a powerful hitter. He took the game away the other night, didn't he? That was fantastic, really, for Pakistan. I think the young lad knew he couldn't get in, so he saved his own wicket. Don't blame him for that, but I'm not so sure the captain's going to see it that way. We'll see.
So
I tell you that I'm just going to say I'm really glad we nailed that run out because it reminded me so much. Do you remember the India World Cup game last year at Old Trafford? They got a huge partnership to open with, but we could have broken it early.
Oh yeah.
I was literally like, where Fakhar was fielding. Fakhar was more more squarer. I was more at fine leg, and I was literally saying bowler, bowler, bowler.
Yeah.
And I could see it from up there, but he threw at the wrong end, and
because we don't always get those moments right. Just over the years, kind of it's like over exuberance, or the throw comes in too quickly, or it goes to the wrong end. But actually, obviously, it was Barber, so captain. That's what you want to see. Throw it to the right end, and we got a big wicket, and that was a huge wicket. I mean, I know you just asked Deb the question about what she thought. I'll be honest, I was pretty confident today. I thought I didn't think we'd concede 190 two games in a row. And it was close, but I'm glad to be just about proved right. It was a close one.
I agree, because I did the same thing. I didn't think we were going to concede 190 second time, and that run out was vital at the end. And there was a couple of moments after that as well. But just to go to start the innings, Shaheen bowled. I wasn't sure Shaheen should be playing today, because I thought he looked a bit. He looked like he was tired. The whole tour had taken its toll. The test matches, the T20s, everything else, and it was just like, you know what? I want to go home now. But somehow he had a little spring to his step today, and he started bowling at 90 miles per hour. That ball to Bairstow in the first over. How good was it, Doctor?
It was amazing. And you know what? Shaheen deserves a lot of credit today, because it would have been quite easy. He would have had a ready-made excuse today if he hadn't played well. He's played every game on tour. We were in the field for England getting 600 odd in that third test, at Old Trafford. So he'd had a big excuse not to have done well. But he ran in. He was hitting 90 miles an hour, and he played brilliantly. So no, really, really happy with Shaheen. Really happy with your shirt as well today.
I was like, come back to me. I had a white boxer t-shirt on the other day. Seriously.
Like an England shirt in me.
Right. At least there hasn't been no jokes on someone dancing, so we'll move on. Yes. We'll move on. So Pakistan get that early wicket, and David Malan comes out. Deb, I know you're a fan of David Malan.
I do like him. Yeah, I do.
He's a sort of player, that without getting noticed, because a lot of people don't notice him, amongst a crowd of, when you've got Butler, Bairstow, Stokes, Roy, Morgan, it's easy to get lost in that. But he's the highest ranked batsman out of all of them, always consistent. He's the one I was scared of. He did start off well, didn't he?
He did. It wouldn't surprise me, however, if he misses out when we get to the World Cup, because, as you say, he seems to go under the radar for some reason. I'm hoping the move to Yorkshire actually will cement his form, really.
It's funny, Deb. I was just going to say there seems to be an issue between Malan and Morgan. I don't know if it goes back to how the way Malan left, because he went Middlesex to Yorkshire, didn't he? I think.
He did.
And then there was the incident in the winter when he didn't run off the last ball of the innings. And even the other day, he didn't say anything about Malan's 50. So I don't know. I'm not sure if there's a bit of a personality clash there or something like that.
I think he had a problem with. He thought that Malan was playing for himself, not the team, didn't he? In that one that you're speaking about. But that you know what? Actually, you get over that, don't you? That if he's a good enough player, you get over that.
They're big on culture, aren't they? They're especially this current England team. They're big on. I mean, the treatment Hales is getting, rightly or wrongly. But the Hales is very much frozen out. It's very much got to be kind of the team. And obviously there's positives to that, but sometimes you do feel that if your face doesn't fit properly, and even Archer's had his issues, kind of seemingly kind of really getting into that dressing room. If your face doesn't fit, or if you kind of don't buy into that team culture, you're almost kind of frozen out a little bit.
What's like Tom Banton feeling this evening? Bearing that in mind, what's that lad thinking? Because you're right, yeah. I mean, I'm not keen on that. I think if Malan is good enough, and I think he is, you fall. I mean, something happened where he was going for a century, wasn't he? I think. Yeah.
I think he didn't. I think it was a T20 out in New Zealand. He didn't run a bye off the last ball of the innings, something like that. Anyway, I can't remember. That was the Malan one, but yeah.
But also, if you think that, you keep that secret. We shouldn't know that, should we?
Mm.
That should be behind closed doors, and you move on and you forget about that. He's obviously made the move to improve his chances, I would say. Yeah, I hope he does well. But you're going to come on to Moeen, aren't you?
We will come on to Moeen. Before
Yeah.
we come to Moeen, you've just mentioned someone that we cannot miss, Tom Banton. He had a poor PSL, but
Didn't he?
he had a very poor PSL, and then he had an excellent T20 blast. And in these last two games, Hulk, how impressed have you been with Tom Banton? We talk about England's, like you talk about Butler, you talk about Bairstow, Roy that can play in the top three. You got Milan, Joe Root's just been dropped. I'm looking at it, and if this boy can't keep his place in the team right now, if I was him, I'd be gutted because he looks really good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been brilliant. I mean, the commentators always go on about our bowling, about the variety that we have: pace, swing, seam, spin, and he's there at the top of the order, and he's there smashing it to all corners of the ground, everywhere. No matter who's bowling, and to be able to do that with such ease just shows that maybe Morgan's not the only wicket that we need to be worried about. Banton's a wicket that we need to be concerned with as well, especially with him coming at the top and during the power play as well. When the field is brought up, it's like a license. Yeah, he has a free license to hit then, doesn't he? I think he played brilliantly, and he's definitely earned his spot. I think he's in the squad for the Australian series as well, isn't he?
I think he is.
Yeah. So he's definitely earned his place.
Roy's
yeah,
out.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he does against the Australian bowlers. But he played absolutely brilliantly for me.
Mm-hmm. He looks like another superb talent. And God knows how many wicketkeeper batsmen England have got. 3 were playing today.
Let's not mention
you've got Banton and you've got Bairstow. And I think the worst out of the out of the 3 glovemen, I think Bairstow's probably the least in ability, just with the gloves. He's the one who had the gloves today. But I'll probably rate Banton and especially Billings. Billings very good with the gloves.
Yeah, Billings
ahead of him.
But Billings is a nearly man when it comes to England. He won't be in any long-term team. Mm-hmm. He just skirts around the edge, I'm afraid. And actually, that poor lad, his career's really been messed about by that. The time that he spent carrying drinks for England has really messed with his career.
He's done the same for Islamabad United as well in the PSL. I think he's been there for 4 seasons, and I think he's probably played about 5 games. Oh. He's just like, I just made that 5 games number up. It was just like, yeah, it's been a nearly bad. He's Kent's captain as well, isn't he?
He is Kent captain, yeah. But then, so what then happened? I mean, a couple of years back, what will then happen? He comes back, not been with the team, doesn't really know how they're performing. I mean, they played against Essex, and he was awful as captain. So it's very difficult. You're messy carrying drinks. You're at the level where you probably should be playing, and then you suddenly get dumped back with another team. I actually feel quite sorry for him, really.
Deb, do you think it's a consequence of England having so many good white ball players that essentially when you get into the team, if you don't perform straight away, and there have been times where he's come in and he hasn't perhaps performed as well as he hasn't been given 10 games, because how do you give someone 10 games when you've got Butler on the sidelines or Roy or Hales or whoever? I mean, it's almost like it's almost a good thing, I guess. If you look at the team, it's a good thing that Billings, a player that good, can't be first choice. But you're right. If you think about the player himself, it can't be easy knowing that every time you come in, if you don't perform literally that game, you're going to be out again.
Yeah, I don't see him in the match against Australia because the big boys are back, aren't they? I mean, Roy can't play. Butler's back. I actually, controversially, I don't think Joe Root should be playing T20. I think he needs time away from cricket while that's going on, or being with his county, because his red ball batting has suffered for me.
Right, Hulk. I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to I just want to see your facial reaction in the next 2 comments. Sorry, this one. I know no one wants to hear this, but I don't really believe Barber is the best T20 batsman around. He gets 50s at low strike rates, which goes under the radar, anchoring a 20-over game, isn't it? Omar replied to that by saying, Babar is the best T20 batsman, only averages 58 and ranked number 1 in the world, but no, he's not that good.
Get in there, Omar.
I'm not sure what I'm making of this today. But yeah,
Sorry,
I'm going to ask you one quick question, yeah?
Yep.
I've had this a lot in the last 3 days. I've seen this a lot, this narrative that Babar bats too slow, Babar's not good enough. Seriously.
It just reminds me of Misbah. When Misbah was in the team, if you rewind back about 5-6 years, Misbah would come in when the score was about 20 for 3, 30 for 3. Okay. And all that would happen, let's say we lose the match. Okay. And Misbah gets 40, 50, 60 while everyone else collapses around him. And who would get the blame? Misbah. Why didn't Misbah get 100? Why didn't Misbah get a double 100? Why was Misbah batting too slow? No one would say anything to the other 5 or 6 batsmen in there. They'd always blame it on Misbah. It's like he's the only one that's getting runs. Maybe if everyone else made 10 more runs each, we'd come out with another 50 and we would have won the game. No one said that all. Now we fast forward to Babar, and exactly like Umar said there, he's the number 1 ranked batsman in the world, above the likes of Kohli, above the likes of Smith, above the likes of Root, above Williamson, above, I don't know, everyone else. He's number 1 for a reason, and we have our own fans saying that he's not good enough. I saw a stat on him, I think it was yesterday, where someone was saying that Babar's strike rate is about 127, I think, and he said that if he increases his strike rate to about 140 odd, we would have got the extra 10-15 runs we needed in the second T20 to end up with 210 runs. Exactly, yeah. If he increased his strike rate by another 30, 40, 50, we might have got another 30, 40 runs. You can always look at numbers and say, if you increase this, and then this will happen. That's just statistics. But instead of looking at Babar, why don't people look at all the other players there? Why do they look at Fakhar? Why do they look at Malik? Why do they look at anyone else? Why is it always on Babar? At some point, I feel like saying to these people, he's not good enough, right? Take Babar out and let's see how you like it then.
No, I don't think I want to take him out. So that's another thing. Bilal says we need a bungalow from Imi. That's not happening. That's never happened.
We wanted it, Imi. Come on.
Someone mentioned it finally. You know what? Imagine when my family actually finds out, yeah, and my kids find out, yeah, they're like this. There's a video of me going viral.
All I'm gonna say is that next year when we go to the games, yeah, that's what everyone's gonna be expecting you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just on Babar quickly. Go on.
I'm not saying he's a great player, but this isn't a one-day or test. I'm not talking about 50s. I'm talking about the impact. Okay, we're going to leave that one there anyhow. Yeah, I think you answered that question. Basically, everyone's got their opinions. Right. Going to move on to the next phase of the game. I know, Doctor, you want to say something. You can cover that because I'm going to come to you next anyhow. So, Pakistan get Banton. And we got the run out, we got banned, and we looked good. And then there was that point where Safraz misses a stump. I know. One of our friends on the WhatsApp group said, "You know what? It was actually stuck like under his shirt." He said, "You know what? He should have just moved forward and just knocked the stumps off." Yeah, it looked like it was in his gloves. Anyhow, he would have got away with it. It's probably cheating that way, but. What we picked up at the start, keeper versus your best keeper versus not your best keeper in terms that nearly cost us the game, didn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a, having seen Rizwan all summer not make a single mistake, and then Safraz be a little bit untidy behind the stumps. Obviously, it felt like a slight reduction in our kind of keeping qualities. Two things though that I really liked about Safraz today. One, I didn't realise how much I missed his running commentary behind the stumps the whole time. I love that. And the second one, his "Aakhri acha karna," right? Come on, who hasn't missed that for however long?
That means that the last one good.
So every over essentially is "Aakhri acha karna," which yes, exactly. But bowl the last one good. I missed that. So just as a one night only kind of return, I was glad to see Safraz just for that. And obviously, yeah, if he could have got rid of Moeen a bit earlier than we eventually did.
Yeah, there was one year with Moeen. He normally says that he'll say a bit of Urdu, and then he'll go, the big hit's coming, big hit's coming, so he'll put the pressure on. But he knew Moeen understands Urdu, so at one point he just said big hit's coming, and then afterwards he just went, bड़ी shot aa rahi hai, because he just knew Moeen understands Urdu, so he's just going to just put it out to him that, he's about to play a big shot. But Deb, I'm going to come to you, Moeen got that chance. He nearly made Pakistan pay.
He did. He is one of, when he's in full flow, Moeen is one of my favourite batsmen in the world. And I just think that he's such a humble, lovely person, and he gets so much stick from England fans. I think we can't decide whether he's a batsman, a bowler, an all-rounder, and whatever doesn't work on the day, he'll be criticised for. I mean, he can't be criticised for his bowling play because he only bowled one over, but England fans are straight on to Moeen every time if he doesn't do something amazing like that. And he was wonderful today. And I'm very glad he was out though. I was happy to see him do well, but I wanted Pakistan to win this one. I didn't want them to go home without a win. But I'm so glad that he got good innings.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, loads of comments. Though, just a quick thing. If you're commenting, just let me know on Twitter as well. If I'm not following you, I'll follow you back. That'll be definite. I'll follow most people back that speak sensibly or are not rude, or even ask me a sensible question on Twitter. That's normally just enough, and I'll say, you know what, I'll follow you guys back. I never used to, but I normally follow most people back. So just let me know. Akhtar Gaming, Fukan has been poor for a while now. His spot should be questionable. How what a guy, I need to build for the World Cup now. Probably happy with victory. Also, you guys are going to watch the Aussie series.
My support goes fully to England for that one.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll be behind England as well.
At some point, I am going to have to go back to work and see some patients. But yeah, I'll try and watch some games if I can.
I see that from you, Doctor. Yeah, because on the day of every game, you're like, I've been doing some research. I'm thinking, I'm sure he's a doctor.
Yeah. So thankfully, we get where there's a few gaps between patients where you can just get quick info up a little bit and just do a bit of a dive into the stats. So I got some more today actually first time. But anyway, we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
sorry, Amy, can I just say something on the last question that was put up there about Wahab? So Wahab's been brought in, and I think the one thing that I associate Wahab with is no balls, front foot no balls. The amount of times that he does them, I just can't understand. And I think Wasim Akram was saying as well that, you know, Wahab Riaz has all the experience. He's got all that great experience. But how much experience do you need to figure out how to not do a front foot no ball? I'm not an expert, but you know, Wahab Riaz is. He's had bowling coaches there. He's had Vakar, Yunus, Azhar, Mahmood. He's got, you know, all these fast bowlers around him. I don't understand why they can't figure out how to stop the front foot no balls. In the 2016 series, I had a couple of people at work saying to me who didn't watch cricket that much, and they said, I don't understand why this guy keeps doing front foot no balls. Why can't he just start his run up from, you know, about 5 or 6 inches back? It sounds simple. I don't understand why they can't implement that. I get that they want to get as close to the stumps, as close to that line as possible, but it's costing us. If you look back at that Trent Bridge where England scored 444 and Hales got about 170 odd, Wahab actually got him out on, I think it was 70, 80 odd. It was caught off in front foot no ball. It could have cost us today. I just can't understand that.
Right, you know what? There was when he got the one of the no balls he come up with, right? They didn't actually show the replay, so we didn't actually get to see if he's front foot. But the umpire was warning him at the same ball as well. And I saw a couple of tweets saying that he was no ball for running on the pitch. That's not right, is it?
Was it?
It wasn't right to me.
No. It's no rule for that. It's no rule for that. I mean, but there was no replay, so I was a bit confused. Naz says, guys, a quick shout out to the two supporters at railway station. You know what? Legends, yeah, they still went out with the doll. and still show some
Amazing.
guess what? The best fans in the world.
100%. They would. Yeah, I'm sure that they were. I'm sure they were there during the first test that was in Manchester as well. I'm pretty sure I saw them there. Yeah, and there's no screen out there, so for them to be there, yeah, with the dole and the horn, yeah, full respect to them, and I really hope that we get to meet them next year at the games.
Yeah, look what the British just said. They actually sacrificed watching the game, yeah, to go and put support in. So absolute legends, and yeah, as I just said, yeah, what do you call it? Best fans in the world. So
Hulk, I've got a quick question for Hulk about Wahab. Just quickly on just a wider point on Wahab, right? He's been playing for Pakistan for quite a long time now. I still feel like I can't trust Wahab at the end of an innings. I still feel like he might bowl 3 Yorkers, get a hat-trick, and it'd be brilliant, or he might bowl a wide, or 5 wides, or a no ball, or a neck-high full toss and he's out of the attack, or he'll run on the pitch, or he'll pick up a hamstring injury. I don't know about anyone else, but I just feel like I can't trust Wahab, and I don't think I'd trust him in a pressure kind of World Cup semi or knockout game situation. Am I just being worried for no reason here?
I agree with you on that. It's, yes, he's got pace. He can hit 90, 92, 93 miles an hour. But if you get that line a little bit wrong, if you get that length a bit wrong, the ball's out of the park. And as you say, when you come up to a pressure World Cup game and, the opposition need 8, 9, 10 and over of the last 2-3 overs, are you going to give him the ball? So I'm with you on this, Doctor. I'm always 50-50 on him. Yes, he's brilliant when he gets it on, but as we've seen with lots of pace, lots of really fast bowlers, you get it slightly wrong, you're out of the park. And can he bowl consistently? I'm not sure.
Because for some people, if there's one injury, Wahab comes straight into the team as a kind of first reserve. For me, I think he would be my 3rd or 4th reserve if we needed him. I'm not saying he's finished or he shouldn't be anywhere near the squad, because that's just an overreaction. But for me, it wouldn't be as soon as there's one injury, like Ahmed goes and Wahab comes in. I'm not sure. We haven't quite got the fast bowling probably reserves that England have got with all their bowlers that aren't playing right now. But Wahab still worries me a little bit.
Under different circumstances, would Nazim be in the running?
Possibly, or Hasnain. Hasnain come on the whole tour and never got a game.
Yeah,
but, we saw both sides of Wahab today. You saw him running on the pitch, and he had to come over the wicket, around the wicket, and then you saw him bowl that super over at the end when he got Moeen as well, and he sort of clinched the game right there. I was hoping that you can leave something like 12, and that was me trying to be hopeful for Hardis, but he left him 17. So you saw both sides of him. I
thought he played well with the running on the pitch thing. Actually, I thought he
just went around the other side. Really well. Umar says special mention to the shoddy umpiring. It wasn't great. I think there's 3 or 4 wides. There was a clear no ball that they missed, and there was the Hardis LBW when he got banned. And I mean, I was literally already celebrating. I was running around my living room like a complete nutcase.
Like Stuart Broad.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't wait for the decision either, and straight away I said, "Review that. It's plum." If then there was a part of me that said he might have edged it. That's the only thing. So the umpiring wasn't great today. The one more shout out goes to my son Daniel, because when he's 7 right now, but when he's 17 and one day he opens the stream up and he looks at it at 48 minutes or 49 minutes exactly, he will realize that when we got Moeen out and I jumped up and I swung my arms out, I never actually slapped him on purpose.
Daniel, don't worry. Next year when we go to the game, I've got your back.
So yeah, he's crying in his mum's lap when I come upstairs. Still, he was like,
"I'm not sitting next to you next year, Amy."
So I completely lost it. Well, there we are.
I think I've got some professional concerns suddenly that I didn't have before, but it's fine. I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry for how much the game today. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. Wahab, two sides of Wahab, isn't there? Yeah,
sorry, just before you move on here, just going back to Umar's question about the shoddy umpiring, right? We're very technical here, so let me just show you this. That is Hafiz's, the full toss that he had. Now, you could judge that for yourself, viewers. Is that above waist height or not? Or is it marginal?
No, it was a big no ball.
Do you know what? It's close to his chest, then it's to his waist.
Exactly. That's what everyone was saying. For them to call it a legal delivery, yeah, it's just, what are they trying? Like Umar said, it was completely shoddy umpiring.
And then a similar one against England was called a no ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not good. Just not a good look.
Yep. Sorry to cut you off.
Hamza's not making 11s today, but he's actually pulling out stats, and he said Fuckers a month, last 14 of T20 innings, average of 10, striker of 114, bring back Shajil.
Hamza, keep up. We've already mentioned that, Hamza. Keep up, lad. Come on.
He's probably searching the stats at the time.
That's what you've got to do at work. What do you think works for?
He's a serial 11 maker.
Right,
so basically, nothing's happening in the world. Everyone's quiet. Everyone's getting on with their work, their lives, and all of a sudden, Hamza comes out with Hamza's 11. So he makes these 11s all of a sudden. Today he didn't make an 11. He just come out with some stats. I saw that on my TV down in Bristol. I don't know what you saw on your TV down Bristol.
The wide.
Okay, right. Dr. Saib, can you just get out? Yeah, my little boy.
You get a knock at the door tomorrow, Amy. You'll know why.
Yeah, social services down. Have you been hitting your child?
Yeah.
But yeah, just one of them moments. He got him out, and I was already standing up because I was literally, I couldn't sit down at that point. I was completely nervous. And as soon as the ball went in the air and the catch was taken, my hand just went, yes. And I think it was a slap or a backhander, something, a punch or a backhander. One of the other hit him.
Man.
So, but yeah, guys, so it's 52 minutes gone. We've only got 8 minutes to go. Any other questions? I'm going to just quickly, is there any other points you guys want to pick up until I pick up any questions on this stream?
So is Shoaib in the next squad, people? What do you reckon? Let's take a bet. Who says yes?
Heart or head?
Head.
Annoyingly, yes, I think he'll be in the next squad. He shouldn't be, but he will be. No, he shouldn't be, but he will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
The Brezza has got a question. Barber has a lot to learn as a captain. As bad as the delivery was, you can't react like that as a captain, especially when your ball has one ball left within the game on the line. That's probably on Haris Sahel bowling a length ball and getting hit for 6 when they needed 12. I guess there was a bit of pressure as well, isn't there, on Barber because he wanted the victory so badly.
Yeah, guys, look, we're all. I don't know. Look, Haris Ralph is like he's new in the team, but he's what 25, 26 years old.
26.
We're all big boys and girls. I think at that point, it's not bad to have a little bit of fear. And hold on, I don't want to kind of cock this up again. People said it about Misbah the other day as well, that he shouldn't be kind of angry sitting on the sidelines. Anyone who watches football or other sports, from time to time, your coach is going to get angry, and actually having that to motivate you and almost kind of then show him. I mean, you saw Harris's face at the end when he bowled that last ball really well. It was almost like he was saying to Babak, right, look, that's what I can do. Perfect response. That's what you want. So there's a bit of psychology there as well. So I don't mind that. This is top level international sport, and people are going to get annoyed. There are careers and captaincies at stake here. So for me, not an issue. I don't know about anyone else.
I think that there's, yes, you're right that you want to see that passion. You want to see that they care, and that's exactly what we saw. I think for me though, it might have been a little bit over because yes, it did work. It's just like any leadership though, because it did work. But what if it didn't work? What if it got in his head and he was so worried about what he was going to bowl in that last delivery that he just bowled it completely? I mean, I don't want to bring it up. I mean, you look at Stokes in that T20 World Cup final, you never know, you might have just completely fallen to pieces. It's 50-50, and I think that at the end of the day, Babar is still learning how to be a really good captain. So I think there's definitely a learning there for him as well, that learn to kind of rein it in sometimes. Still show your passion, but maybe not show it as much. But yeah, you know,
or at least, sorry, interrupt. At least pick on someone who you know can kind of take it. I think if that was an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old kid, I would agree. I'd say, hold on, no, that is not how you treat kind of a young kid. But I agree. As if you've kind of got to pick your personalities, and maybe I'm giving Baba too much credit, mate, and thinking that he knows the psychology of all these players. Yeah, maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
The Brez, Baba wasn't really angry, Doctor. He was more petulant. Baba should have been angry when it was selected. He's dropped it back to us there. Omar asks, and I'm going to let Debbie answer this one. Quick for a second, Mahmood going forward for England. Do you see him as a permanent starter now? Probably not now, but anytime in the future? Or is he just going to always be one of them, like, here and there sort of cricketers?
I don't know all that much about him, actually. I must admit, I haven't seen that much of him. I'd like to think he's going to get a place and stay there. I think Chris Jordan's days are possibly numbered. Yeah, I hope he does. I don't know what he's like with the bat. Chris Jordan for me should be England's permanent number 12 when they're playing in Test matches. We should do what India do with Jadeja and have Chris Jordan on the bench every single time.
You won't drop any catches.
No,
he is wonderful.
Fantastic fielder, amazing.
Naz, great show, guys. Until next time, stay safe. It's the first time I think I've seen Naz on the stream, so thank you for joining. He was quite contributive today.
I'm going to make a really quick point, just while you're going through the comments, a quick point to all three of you, actually, and everyone who's watching as well. It's evenings like this that make it all worthwhile, because obviously we come in here, we criticise and we get annoyed when we lose, but all of us at some point have either missed something or had to sacrifice work or book days off to watch Pakistan, and after 2 months of them being in this country, to just watch them win one game, it just makes it all worthwhile. So well done everyone who stuck with the team and didn't just stop and quit halfway through like some of our fans and any fan would do. I'm just so happy we won today, and that's just this. You get your rewards when you're watching sport and you're loyal to your team. So
yes, 2 a.m. We finished at nearly 2 a.m. in the morning, and people in fact that timeline was completely full. It was literally lit, and you can mistake it for like a really important World Cup game. That's how Pakistani general public just look at every single game. They could have been 2-0 down and they would have woke up that time and still watched it. So yeah, a wonderful fan base.
Sorry, mate. Just while you're looking, can I just add one other point there? I think that one of the other things that we need to do going forward into the 2020 World Cup is look at England and what they did between 2015 and 2019. The 2015 50 over World Cup, they got crashed out. They crashed out of the World Cup to Bangladesh. They were down. They were lost. They were right on the list. And what they did in the next 4 years, and I think they played New Zealand that summer, the home series, and in that one-day series, England must have got about a couple of scores where they hit close to 400 or over 400. And I remember the commentators saying that whatever happened a few months ago in that World Cup, they seem to have taken it, just thrown it out, and they're just playing with no fear now. It wasn't reckless. It was like structured, but playing fearlessly. And I think whatever England have done, obviously, pay dividends. They won the World Cup last year. And I think that Pakistan need to do something like that. So I keep harping on about it, whether it's looking at our senior experienced people, looking at the young blood that we've got, the youth. Who else? They're not just Heather Ali. There's Khushtil. There's going to be more people from the PSL coming through. PSL is kind of a feeder into the T20 team. You can't put everyone in there, obviously, but they have to look at it subjectively and say, who is going to be there with us in the next 12, 24 months? And that experience, what does that experience give you? And my worry is that Malik didn't do a single thing today, but what he did do is in the games played, he got an extra number in there. So that's an extra bit of experience for him. What does that experience give? I really can't understand. Heather, who's got hardly any experience, we saw what he did. He's not going to do that every game. Some games he might be out for single digits. Okay, but we have to consider things in a long vision. And I would really look at the England 50 over team between 2015 and 2019 as a template. What did England do? What can we take from that?
That all came from Bayliss and Morgan. That summer when they played New Zealand, there were times when they were trying to set a score and they'd be bowled out for 310 in 45 overs. And the old school mentality would have been, "I'll bat out your 50 overs and get to 290 for 9."
Yeah.
I said, "No, we'll be bowled out, but we are just going to do things our way." And you saw what they did to us the following summer. So 2016 summer was when we came here, and that was a 4-4-4 and all that. But it all comes from Morgan and Bayliss giving the players confidence that this is our philosophy. If you get out playing with this philosophy, we'll back you. No matter what, if you get 25 off 10 and you get out, we will still back you. Debs, I'm sure you're well aware of England's philosophy kind of in those 4 years.
Yeah.
But it comes from captain and coach. And I don't know, Hulk. I don't know if we can replicate that with the setup that we've got. That doesn't seem like Misbah style to me, unless he's going to change.
Because
It
of the failing, is it?
It doesn't seem like Misbah style, and it doesn't seem like some of the coaches that we've had before either, possibly. But I think that whoever's going to be the coach going forward, whether it's Misbah or whoever else, needs to give that confidence to players. Whether it's a Pakistani coach, whether it's a foreign coach, you need to somehow give them that confidence that, okay, if you get single digits, you're not going to lose your place next game. And only then are they going to be able to have the confidence to go forward. Just look at that England team, what they did over those 4 years.
Look at what they did to Australia in 2018. They beat them 5-0 in the one days, and beat them really well as well.
Yeah.
I think that we'll sum it up right there. I'll take this last question. Do you think Heather really should be playing all 3 formats? I think we've got to be careful. I think we've got to be careful with a young player and not put too much burden on him. But hell yeah.
I think
he should have played all 3 formats. So I'm gonna finish it right there. Thank you,
Thanks,
Deb. Thank you, Doctor.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Hulk.
Well done, guys.
You know what? It's been a long tour, and we've been able to see our families. We've been able to get on with our jobs. Just walk out of the house. The players haven't. So both teams deserve this well-earned break. I know the England team might still have a couple of more weeks. Well, some of them have. The Pakistani team can actually go home now and just relax a little bit. So it's been tough for them. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay happy. Stay blessed. We'll carry on some shows during the weeks as we go along. I think we're going to do one on the weekend where we're going to sum up the Test series. So do join us for that one as well. And then going forward, when there's a subject to talk about, we might do the odd 1 or 2 shows in a week, but nothing more than that. I guess my wife and kids need some time as well. But the last thing that we always say